Hello from Uiseong, Korea at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2016. It's a cool late autumn day here in Southeast Korea, but the action on the ice at the Uiseong Curling Center is really heating up. Our feature game today pits Japan versus Korea. I'm Hans Fraunlaub, joined by World Mixed Curling Champion Sander Rolva. Good afternoon to you, Sander.
Good afternoon, Hans.
Final game of the round robin. And let's take a look at the standings. Every game out here has playoff implications. We see the host team, Korea, has already qualified for the post-section play at 6-0, but they'll be looking to win this game to finish top ranked. China's at 5-1, as is Japan. Japan looking to get into a tie-break. New Zealand is in playoff position. They must win today. Australia is right behind them on 2-4. Hong Kong, Kazakhstan, and Qatar round out the standings. So let's meet the teams. Here's Team Japan. Playing at lead is Yorika Yoshida. At second stone, Yumi Suzuki. Chinami Yoshida plays at third, and the skip is Satsuki Fujisawa. The alternate is Mari Motohashi, and they are coached by J.D. Lind.
And for Team Korea, we have at lead Kim Young-mi. At second is Kim Son-young. At third and vice skip, we have Kim Kyung-ae, and the team is skipped by Kim Un-jung. At alternate, we have Kim Jong-hee, and at coach is Kim Min-jung.
So this Korean team really impressive through the round robin, unbeaten up to this stage, but another top of the table battle. They'll have their hands full with this Japanese team, who, if you were with us last evening, lost a heartbreaker on the final stone to China. Had real control of that game, but had a last stone drop pick. So what do you expect to see from these two teams today, Sander?
Well, if you want to look away from the last stone pick last night, I'd say Japan's undefeated.
Right.
So in my mind, more or less two undefeated teams coming into this game, and it's pretty hard to make a pick. They've been playing great, both the teams all week, and just gonna have to sit back and enjoy.
Absolutely. So please do. Getting us underway here today. Japan has the last stone, so it's Korea throwing first. Korean lead Kim Jong-mi. I think that's right, Sander. Effectively a battle of the unbeaten. Somebody had to lose that game last night, Japan versus China, but the Japanese very unfortunate. Fujisawa comes to sweep that stone to the back of the house, so let's see if the Japanese go straight to the attack, and yes, they do. As we said, we're in the last draw of the round robin. Here is Japanese lead Yorika Yoshida. This is the stage of the tournament where we all get our calculators out and look at the schedule and see who played who, and later in the game we'll give you an update on what the playoff picture is looking like. Long guard there. Maybe a bit too long to use as a useful corner guard. Kim Young-mi. Talking about wins with unexpected flavor. Sander, this Korean team won a game in quite unexpected fashion against the Chinese.
Yeah, Bang Bing-yu had a double for the win. Not an easy shot, but ended up running out of time. Something we don't see very often at this level.
And in an extra end at that.
Yeah, that was quite a shocker.
Here's Japanese lead Yoshida, getting to throw a hit. Always a treat for a lead to throw a hit.
Yeah, you don't do it very often, so
there's one, but it's a jam.
Not too bad. It's one thing to throw a hit in practice, but to maybe go 3 days without throwing a hit, it might be a little tough to actually throw it when you get the chance.
Have to remind the body and the legs how to do it and keep the timing right. So touchy little shot here for Korean second stone Kim Sun-young. Going to the wide side of the sheet, has to navigate the guard, well by that guard. She got a piece? Oh, yes, she does. Nice stone there. And Korea lies too. Korea's playing the yellow stones, and Japan playing the red stones. Yumi Suzuki, Japanese second stone. Japan with the hammer here in end number 1. Oh, very nice control of the weight in the first end. Good angle there. Japan lying 1 now. So here are the rules of the play for the game today. The teams will play a minimum of 6 ends, but the game is scheduled for 10. They have 38 minutes each of thinking time to play their shots. And as Bin Yuang found out, you run out of time, you lose the game. Each team has 1 60-second timeout where they can call their coach onto the field of play. So tricky angle here for Kim Sun-young. Kim Young-mi. Kim Kyung-ai thinks this one has lots of weight. Not sweeping it. Just nudges the Japanese stone and slides into the back 12. So big chance now for Japan, even though there's 3 Korean stones in the ring. Japan's shot, and their stone's in a great spot. So good chance here for Japan with the hammer to open this 10-end contest with a deuce, maybe more.
Yeah, lots of catchers in the back for Japan.
Yumi Suzuki looking to pretty much duplicate her first shot, I think. Well, a bit wider line here. Trying to bring their stone to the back Korean stone, but it's over curling. Trying to get into that pile as it kind of squeeze between them. Not a great result there for the Japanese. Their stone is in 4th shot position. So a bit of a let off for the Koreans.
Well, not off the hook yet, I'd say.
No, danger aplenty. Here's Kim Kyung-ai. Sander, she's had a solid week. She really makes this team go.
Gosh, I think she's always quite solid, and she's a fire plug in the team. Always extreme focus. I'd say both the backhand players of Korea, they're just, they have that killer instinct.
Well by the guard. This one's taking its time curling. I think the players were expecting more finish here. Comes to rest just past the tee line, so they are shot, but a lot of stones behind the tee line there and some quite interesting angles. Kim looks at her stone and says, okay, well, we're 1. Korea is playing the yellow stones. Satsuki Fujisawa. Setting the target for her 3rd player, Chinami Yoshida. Well, the draws weren't curling much, but they were worried about the hit, but they're well by the guard. Removes the Korean stone and a nice roll into the back of the 4-foot. Good separation there and a nice shot from Yoshida. inside roll. Will it roll too far? Just into the blue 12-foot circle, so looking for a little roll to sit in front of the pile, but just rolled an inch too far, Sander. So lots of choices for the Japanese here. Where would you put the rock?
Oh, well, they could just plainly split the house if they wanted to, and just get their two. If they want to try and put all more pressure on Korea, they might play a freeze pretty much anywhere.
They looked at coming around the corner guard on top of their own, but they seem to be settling on freezing that yellow stone on the back center line. Not a lot of room for error there, but a good pocket to sit in. Green lights on the stone mean a clean release. The automatic hogline detector. This one's really moving.
Yeah, they overcurled the same shot earlier. This one also a bit shy in weight.
Maybe just deep enough to avoid the double, but a good chance for the Koreans now to hit that stone and roll to the pile.
Well, they have to be a little careful, though. There's a jam in the back onto their yellow.
Sure is. Looking at the angles from our overhead.
이쪽으로 안 될 것 같지? 롱가드가 있어서. 컨트롤? 아니 타이트하게 잡아도 될 것 같긴 한데 여기 진짜 많이 안 돌긴 안 돌아. 아까 필 했는데 선생이 여기 잡고 그냥 여기 왔거든. 근데 컨트롤이면 여기 맞을 거면 한 여기까지는 나쁘지 않은 것 같아. 끝에 좀 덜 도는 것 같아.
The good news for Kim Eun-jung is
아니면
she's seen lots of stones down this path this end.
좀 얇게 맞아야 되긴 한데.
I think they've been fooled a little bit by how straight this is. They're probably expecting more curl, but sounded like they want to play control weight. It's just a little bit down from full takeout weight. So here is Kim Eun-jung. They're on it right away. Trying to save this one. They want the inside roll, but have they got enough of it? Well, Yoshida taking or Fujisawa taking a close look at it. Looks to me like Japan might still be shot. Here we see we're looking for the inside roll, but a little bit narrow, and we see it go behind the Japanese stone. They were hoping for a little bit of contact on that red, I think, but hit it too thin and they slid behind it. And it's close, but we think Japan's lying one. Pretty important that they figure out that they are. Another great look from our overhead. What do you think, Sander?
It's hard to tell.
Satsuki doesn't really know.
Those two girls down there, I can't figure it out. I'm not sure if
Yeah,
I can
we'll
through
just-
the camera angle.
We'll just stay out of it.
Yeah, so either you gamble and you just draw the open wing and hope that you get your two. If you're not sure, though, you might want to come down and move it. But if you come down onto the nose here, I'm not sure if your shooter will outcount the back yellow.
Right, you might make it worse. If you were with us last night, you saw the Japanese benefiting from a biter measure. They tried to split for three, didn't make that, but then they measured a stone that might have been out of the rings, but it was in the rings, and they got their deuce that way. So after a good old long look at those stones, the Japanese settle on their shot.
I wasn't quite sure if the call was to freeze the Yellowstone behind the red one or the Yellowstone back of the 8.
Satsuki Fujisawa, the Japanese skip. Got a couple of options here. They definitely want to be second shot, however. Sweeper's really working this one. It's not heavy.
I think this will be plan B here.
Yeah, now they're turning it into a guard for their shot rock, or what they hope is their shot rock, so it comes up short. Yoshida and Suzuki taking a breather after a coast-to-coast sweep. And now it's the turn of the Koreans to have a good close look at it. Because if you're Korea, if you think you're lying one already, changes the complexion of the shot entirely. So a little close quarters intrigue there. You get a look at it from our hack end shot. Real cluster of stones on the left hand of the sheet.
Gotta be a little careful where you put this.
Yeah.
Find the wrong spot here, you might see, you might leave a triple for Japan to score big.
A pinball triple for 3 or 4.
We're looking to freeze the back yellow, I believe that was the call. Freeze their own.
Kim Eun-jung, the minute she let it go, asked her sweepers to come off it, but now it's really starting to move. Pounding it to get it by the guard, and they do.
That's a pretty good shot there.
A great shot from Kim Eun-jung.
Called it, made it, perfect.
Well, here we see great sweep by the front end, getting it by the guard, and importantly, bringing it all the way back to their own stone and welding it right on top. So no chance now for the Japanese to go for anything more than a draw for 1. So Fujisawa was a little bit light with her first draw. See if she can make the adjustment here to save the end. It's the last rock here in end number 1. Now this one's starting to curl as well. Making sure they keep the line as well. Yeah, nice indeed. Nestles in there, and it's a score of 1 for Japan. So after that really delicate series of freezes and come-arounds, it's mission accomplished for Korea in the first end. Yurika Yoshida getting us underway here in the second. So it was an interesting first end. Lots of rocks in play, so if that's any kind of an indicator for what we're going to see this afternoon, should be very enjoyable. Nice tight center guard there by Yoshida.
너무 타이트하게 말고. 웨이트 나와. 내 위로. 가까이 말고.
Kim Young-mi.
경이 가야 돼.
Sander, we've been enjoying
기다려.
this week discussing the nicknames that this Korean team have for each other.
기다려야 돼.
Kim Young-mi is known as
Pancake.
one of the great sports nicknames of all time.
That might be my favorite, I think.
Yeah, Pancake, that's it's hard to beat as a nickname, really. Yurika Yoshida. This one's going to slip past the tee line. So a bit of a chance here for the Koreans to attack if they want. And attack they do.
1번 할까?
It's been a while since they've played each other at the Pacifics. Need to go back all the way to 2012 for them to have played each other. And they actually played each other 4 times back then.
Wow.
Fujisawa winning on 3 occasions. But this year, they played each other twice on the tour, both at the Hokkaido Bank Curling Classic. And Kim actually beat Fujisawa with big numbers in both games.
Right. Well, that can be a bit demoralizing, can't it? When you've had some dominance over an opponent for a period of time and then they turn it around and they start throttling you. So here's Yumi Suzuki looking to follow that Korean stone into the 4-foot area. So these teams haven't played each other a lot. Well, that creates not a bad shot, but not great angles there for the Japanese. Kim Sun-young can just nestle one slightly across the face of that red stone. Just nudge it back or just sit on top of it with a corner freeze. The Koreans could really have something brewing here in the second. Sweeping for the curl. Well, again, not bad, but would have liked that to curl a little bit more, wouldn't they, Sander? Or was it pretty happy with that angle?
Yeah, it's not too bad, but yeah, I agree. Just curl a little more, try and tap that redstone away from the back yellow and get the inside roll. Certainly a nice build-up so far.
Yeah, for the second end in a row, we're starting to see stones clustering on top of each other.
Definitely gets a bit messy when you get a few stones in the back of the house.
Here you are brushing right along with the Japanese sweepers, taking this stone towards the house. This one really shot across, though. I wonder if either it picked up or they were just fooled a bit with the line. There's Eureka Yoshida. Yeah, Yumi is asking her skip what happened. But, again, interesting angles. Jung Kim thinking, oh, maybe those guards are a bit too dangerous.
Yeah, it seemed like Kim's first call was to come around once more, and her team saying, well, let's maybe peel the 2 staggered center guards and keep control of the send. You don't really like to play around the center guard. Definitely not a staggered center guards when you have the last rock. You want to keep that center a little open. And try and utilize the corner guard. There's a reason why you put it up there, so.
It's true. Wise words from Sander Rolvag. He knows what he's talking about. He's won a world championship.
Well, doesn't get the double there on the guards. Creates a bit of a problem. Japan gets another chance to come in there into the forfeit.
So now it's Chinami Yoshida's turn to have a try. This one's a much wider path than Suzuki's attempt. miles past the guard. So again, these angles for the Japanese not stacking up very well for them. So a really nice opportunity here for Team Korea. That stone should be fully visible from the hack end, so a good chance here for the Koreans to get that down weight hit and a little inside flop. Kim Kyung-ae.
I heard Kim say back, so I'm assuming that may be just backline weight. This one storming towards the guard. And in the end, not a terrible result. Does open things a wee bit.
Pushes the Japanese stone into the 8-foot. But as Sander points out, it does open up the front a little bit.
Also leaves the stone to freeze on behind the corner guard if they ever get the chance to open the forefoot.
Great look at it from our overhead. Lots of red Japanese stones surrounding that yellow stone belonging to Korea. Chinami Yoshida coming down to have a chat. This is an important decision. Sander, you're nodding your head. You thinking that's a pretty good idea?
Yeah. I don't mind this. Just freeze the yellow. Just surrounding it, basically, with tons of red stones. Trying to make it all difficult for the Koreans.
So Yoshida was a little bit full with that in-turn draw. Looking to corner freeze the shot rock. A little bit more than cold draw weight, so she's going to move this stone if she gets to it. Are they by their own? Just nudge it. But the sweeping held the line enough to... somebody touched the other stone just short of the rings. Going by on the sweep, but boy, what a log jam. Here we see the sweep trying to keep that stone straight enough to get past the red stone. They just graze it, but they nudge the Korean stone, coming to rest on the button. Chinami's going, yes, no, maybe, just made it. I think we're just trying to pick this one out here, Sander. Yeah, on the high side.
Looked like he was calling a very thin double.
So.
Or I'm not sure if she... it makes more sense to go for the shot stone first.
Right, just back into the other one.
The end turn. That's pretty good there. Might just have left a double for Japan though.
So it's pretty snug there in the forefoot. The Korean sweepers keep the stone straight enough. They remove the Japanese rock, and Korea's got 2 in the forefoot, but so does Japan.
At the very first glance, looks like a decent shot, but you know what? Give it a second, and you can see that it's pretty much a nose hit on the yellow to...
Live 4, maybe 5.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a party in the forefoot right now, but Satsuki Fujisawa trying to send a few of the party goers home. Can't make a mistake on the high side though. 1, 2, springs it, and out goes the Korean stone. Double takeout by Satsuki Fujisawa, and Japan lies 5. Well, here we see on the replay, great sweeping by the Japanese. And as Sander predicted, double takeout was there and it sprung. What a turnaround in this end. Only good news for the Koreans here is they've got last rock.
차라리 그거 아니면 그냥 프리즈. 치고 맞고 롤까지 보고 이렇게. 약간. 컨트롤? 아, 컨트롤.
Looks to me like Kim Eun-jung wants to play control weight hit. See a great shot from her overhead. Looks like she wants to hit about half of it and probably roll it to the center line in front of that stone in the back forefoot. Maybe if she's lucky, clipping that stone to the left-hand side in the 8-foot, moving that out of the rings as well. It's also a double straight back. Fine adjustment there. We can see she can just see all of the target rock.
Good enough for third shot. Pretty sure that Kim Eun-jung would not, she wouldn't like to see 5 red stones before her last throw.
Nobody likes to see that climbing in the hack for their last shot, that's for sure. But is this one of these situations where the Japanese could maybe elect to guard their own shot rock and leave that one there and play for a force that way?
Yeah, well, they are lying too, so yeah, they could definitely just clog the hole here and be really hard for Korea to score. They would leave something for 2, but something very dangerous for Korea to attempt. But then again, it's also very tempting to try and lie 5 and put pressure on Korea that way. We're gonna have to pass the guard first. Jams it, but good enough to lie 4.
Wow, pretty fortunate there for the Japanese. That one over curled and jammed on the back stone, but just sprung it far enough. And Satsuki saying, yeah, it'll do. Wasn't really what I wanted, but mission accomplished. Japan lies 4. So now Kim Eun-jung has to zero in on the path that she wants to throw, and she'll need to be full forefoot. She does have backing.
There's a guard in play there. It shouldn't be in the way of the draw, but certainly is something Kim Eun-jung might think about. So just got to make sure to trust the ice, trust the broom here, and don't be too soft on release, or you might just overcurl everything.
Last stone of the second end here for Korea. Need full forefoot to score. Oh, really nice stone there from Kim Eun-jung, saving the end, drilling the forefoot. A big sigh of relief for the Koreans. Could have been a bad one, but it turned into a good one. It's a score of 1 for Korea on end number 2. So after 2 ends of play here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships in Uiseong, Korea, we're all tied up 1-1. So after trading forces, it's Korea getting us underway here in the third. Kim Young-mi.
라인 넉넉해.
경희가 와줘야 돼.
라인 넉넉해.
끝까지 와줘.
계속 가 계속.
와야 돼. 이건 또 너무 약하다.
Center guard. A little off the center line. The Japanese won't mind that. Japan with one on the first and Korea with one on the second. So we're all tied up here playing end number 3. Eureka Yoshida. Japanese lead. Wants to keep this in front of the tee line, but it's sliding, so they want to take it now as far deep as they can. Back 4 foot. That one's fully buried. So now Pancake's going to have a go at it. Kim Young-mi. Pretty good. Maybe a foot heavier than perfect, but Korea lies 1. Yoshida. They like the line of this one. Nudging the Korean stone straight back, and very nice stone there. Pushes it back into third shot position. So nice shooting, Eureka Yoshida.
And time for Sunny to throw the freeze.
Sun Young Kim, known as Sunny. So we have a Sunny and a Pancake.
And,
It's a good way to start the morning.
Nickname Sunny is not because it's similar to her name.
Okay, it is because
She likes her eggs sunny side up.
so Pancake at the lead position, sunny side up eggs at the second position. Takes care of your breakfast needs. One comes to rest, just biting the front 4 foot. So once again, we see the teams very, very willing to just, somebody makes an aggressive shot, the other team says, yep, we'll come right at you. Lots of rocks in play, which we love to see. Here is Yumi Suzuki.
More of a conservative call here, peeling the guard.
Are you surprised by that? Looks like you're a bit surprised by that call.
No, it's just that we have had a few rocks in play already, so I wouldn't be surprised if they were, playing a free little tap or something like that. But yeah, they might just be playing the scoreboard very rigid already, and maybe keeping the blank in play.
Kim Sun-young, Sunny. Looking to replace that guard.
I would say that the Japanese team, though, they're usually a little more conservative, less stones in play. I've heard that from other teams this week also.
Well, they're quite confident. We've seen Yumi Suzuki at the second position being really, really good with her upweight hits. So I think they're confident that if they get ahead in a close game, that they can peel with accuracy and keep it tidy. See Satsuki Fujisawa sets the target for Yumi Suzuki.
Yeah, a bit of a change up this time.
Clips the guard.
A good call there, just giving minimum ice, throwing the right weight, and always having that plan B of wrecking the guard. Very close to spinning the shooter into the house.
Front end players were cheering on their skip, trying to get the spin. Almost got it. Of course, I know from experience, Sander, front end players watching their skip sweep, they're always kind of skeptical about how strong the skip can actually be with a broom in his or her hands.
Well, it's always a good thing to make fun of your skip. That's what the front end players do. But I've only seen one curling player ever break a broom, snap a broom in half while sweeping.
While sweeping. Okay, and that was?
That was Erica Brown.
Erica Brown. Wow.
The US skip.
That is impressive.
Sweeping behind the tee line.
Wow. Well, Erica is a fairly legendary international competitor, and she is very competitive, but yeah, wow.
She's maybe not known as the biggest, stronger sweeper in the curling game.
No, but she's intense, she competes. There's Tsunami Yoshida. Well, that rearranges things quite a lot. Korean stone remains in the front 8-foot shot rock. There we see 1, 2, 3, 4 stones in motion. And at the end of it all, we've got 1 Korean stone in the 8-foot and a Japanese stone in the back 8-foot. Second shot. It is open for the Koreans, so chance for them to hit and flop and go for the force.
It's a big turnaround. They were playing a little hit and roll around the guard. That was a chance to lie 3 for Japan, and all of a sudden Korea now lying 2. That is if they make the shot.
They seem pretty happy with it. On the nose. Conservative sweeping call there. They get a tiny inside roll. But they do lie 2. They'd be pretty happy if they could force Japan to score 1.
Gonna throw the run back here once more. There's a good chance you might make the run double here.
So that's what Tsunami Yoshida sees from the hack. Stone's on the way. Gets 1.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, raised double takeout for Tsunami Yoshida. Giggles and smiles all around from Team Japan.
It's a pretty perfect way to do it too. Rolls the shooter away.
There's the contact. We see it just clip that second Korean stone in the back 8-foot, just enough to push it out of the rings. Tsunami sweeping for her teammates. That's great. So now nothing in the rings. So that turned around in 2 shots, didn't it, Sander?
Yeah, it's just back and forth. That's what we like to see. And Korea will have a chance to come around the guard, but the guard is red. It belongs to Japan, and we've seen how accurate they've been with the run back. So Japan might get their blank here.
Kim Eun-jung on the attempted come around.
Yeah, this Korean team is ranked number 8 in the world on the order of merit on the World Curling Tour for this season.
It's impressive.
Fujisawa on her Japanese side is ranked number 19, so both in the top 20. for the season in the world.
앞으로 안 나가는 것 같아요, 이제.
Well, that one comes up quite a long way short there, and puzzled expression there from Kim Uiseong, but a good chance now for the Japanese to use those corners.
Yeah, might have been a little teaser
Yeah.
from Korea. Fujisawa is a little careless with her draw placement here. Korea might get a chance to force them after all. So perfect spot here as you put it about top 8. But on the T line, you know, Won Jong Kim is coming after it.
Satsuki Fujisawa, silver medalist at the 2016 World Women's Championships, urging her sweepers on. They really want to get it past this guard, but they're going to be really tight to it. Can they get it by? Oh, fantastic sweeping by the Japanese front end. They just wicked it, but they kept the rotation. Wow. So close to getting by the guard, but just grazed it. There we see Yoshida Suzuki trying desperately to get it by that guard, but watch it just redirects.
A silent rub. Was able to
Still hit a corner.
Yeah. So it'd be really difficult for the Koreans to get the inside roll here.
Wow. Very intriguing play that we've had here early in this 10-end contest.
I'd be surprised if Kim Hun-jung will choose to flirt too much with the guard here. I don't think the roll in behind cover is very realistic. Just make sure you hit the red and stay in the rings.
Well by the guard. Mission accomplished for Team Korea.
So the blank attempt for Japan, playing this on the in turn. I think you'd see most skips throw the out turn at this. Feels a little natural. The outside in, you'd usually prefer the out turn. But Fujisawa, strong believer, and her in turn throw.
So blank attempt on the way for Satsuki Fujisawa. Last rock of end number 3. Trying to hit this stone and roll out themselves. Perfection. Very well executed there from the Japanese. Kim's going to take a close look at it. They might get an official to measure that one just to try to get the cheapest force possible. And yes, in fact, they are going to call for a measure.
Yeah, I would usually do something like that if I went coast to coast on my skips rock as the lead, just to get a few extra moments break. Yeah, we're going to do a measure.
Yeah.
It's like, are you sure, Sandra? Doesn't really look like it's on.
I'll have a measure, please.
It's always a good tactic.
So there's the
Pretty
biter
close.
measure. It's quite close.
Can't see anything, obviously. But,
There's a bit of air there, so the official moves the stone away from the rings. So it is, in fact, a blank for Team Japan. No score on that third end, but Japan will retain the hammer now into the fourth. After 3 ends of play, it's Japan 1, Korea 1. So after that blank in the third, Japan has the hammer here in the fourth. So Korea getting us underway.
위로 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 가야 돼.
아 세다.
10 end game. Scores are tied after 10 ends. We'll play an extra end.
이건 얼마야?
This one sliding back into the 8-foot. So good attacking opportunity here for Team Japan. They'll set the corner guard.
It's a bit of a mistake dropping that first one to the back gate. Just means that when Japan puts up the corner, you more than likely put your next one in the house, because putting up the center guard with a stone back gate is a fairly aggressive move and it allows so much room for Japan to work with when they have the hammer. And of course, if you do bring it into the house, it's a pretty risk-free chance for Japan to even just come straight around the corner guard, because now there's only one stone in front of the T-line to deal with, or just play all hit and roll. So it's quite important to get those lead rocks in the right place. If that was top four, they could throw a tight center guard now and it'd be a lot more difficult for Japan to deal with.
클립만.
So let's see where
다 사야죠.
Kim Young-mi puts this second lead stone of the fourth end.
라인은 좋아. 좀 돈다.
They do bring it into the rings. Onto the center line, biting the front four. It is Sander foreshadowed. Japanese now will just hit it and try to roll behind that corner guard. Maybe make a double in the process.
The most important thing is to keep the shooter in play here. And if you roll out, Korea will have the option of peeling the corner guard and effectively killing the end for Japan. Nice double.
So Eureka Yoshida will be able to send a message out to the International Leads Union that I made a double takeout.
In our newsletter.
Yes.
So Korea already on the back foot here, needing to shy away from that corner guard as much as possible. And if Japan ever makes a nice roll, that could set him up for two. And if not, the blank's very much in play. And now Korea rolling away, leaving the forfeit open. A chance for Japan to come around the corner. I don't think there will be shot stone if they're fully buried, but they'll take that risk here.
Yumi Suzuki.
The thing about drawing around the corner for second shot is, let's say Korea peels the guard, then you can hit the open one, and then now you're lying two. So that's how a corner guard works, really.
Slides a little deeper than they'd like.
Yeah, so I don't think Korea will peel the guard now. We'll have a chance to come after it, play the freeze. Just put a yellow stone on top of the red.
But if they don't execute well, it does open the door for the Japanese a little bit to build up a bigger end.
The only good thing for Japan is forfeit is open, center line is open, the intern is fully open. There's always a chance to get out of this end with a single point.
They want to get this stone as tight as they can to the Japanese rock. Very nicely swept by the Koreans, and it comes to rest right in front of that Japanese stone. Great shot.
Well, it's still pretty deep though, so Japan again will have a chance to just draw on top for shot stone.
There we see those two stones behind the corner guard, but as Sander pointed out, also just behind the tee line. So chance here for Yumi Suzuki to drill another one on top of those two. Jennifer's not laying a brush to this one. Well past the guard. Might be a little heavy. Will they just chip it out? Well, it kind of worked out, but the angles are available there for the Koreans to hit and roll off that stone. Yumi Suzuki acknowledging her skip, but she knows she would have liked to be 3 feet lighter.
더블이 더 낫지 않아? 아닌가? 근데 그 다음에 어차피 또 브릿지가 있지 않나?
Kim Eun-jung looking at the angles for the double takeout. And we see shot A is the inside roll, but she's looking at the outside in case she's wide.
웨이트는 컨트롤.
Looks to us like the preferred shot's a controlled weight hit just slightly across the face of that red rock and nestling her own on the inside of those 2 stones in the back 8. Loses her own shooter, but sticks her own right in front of that Japanese shot for shots. So good stone there from Kim Kyung-ae. And we're talking about the Korean team nicknames. Kim Kyung-ae's nickname is?
Steak.
Steak. So we go from the breakfast table into a barbecue situation.
Well, barbecue is certainly something you know a thing or two about in Korea.
They sure do. Comfortably by the guard. Again, lots of weight. And again, just chips that Korean stone sideways. Japan's first shot. She's looking a little surprised there. Korean stone to the right of our screen, second shot in the 8-foot. Japanese might have third shot. Again, Kim Eun-jung looking at the angles. Now she can safely hit this one on the outside, make the double in life 4.
노멀 낫지 않아?
이게 낫지 않아요? 좀 도는 것 같아요, 듣게. 좀 주세요. 주세요.
She can hit it just off nose on the brush side of that red rock. She'll kill both Japanese shots. This one's taking off. So no double takeout, but danger aplenty for Team Japan.
공 빨라. 진짜.
We see this one really seemed to curl. It over curled for the double takeout, but noses it. Still not a bad spot for Team Korea. They're lying 2 at least, and maybe 3. So pretty crucial shot coming up here for Chinami Yoshida. Any kind of a mistake here, and then the Koreans could really apply the heat. They really want this to curl. Just noses it.
너도 그래야 돼.
So changes the angle slightly, Japan's shot, but
얘들이 이길 것 같은데.
they were looking for an inside roll there, Sander, to hide it. Still available to the Koreans.
이겼어?
Now a chance for Korea to play a double and live 4.
되게 좀 도는 것 같아. 컨트롤? 좋아요. 맞고 아니면 한 개만 해. 이거 보지 말고. 스테이도 괜찮아.
저게 이기고 있어서 정타수가
스테이도
나쁘지
괜찮아.
않을 것 같기도 하고.
Yeah, Kim had to draw against the bundle herself. Now trying for some payback.
Again, trying to turn the tables here.
컨트롤?
So Kim Eun-jung getting into the hack, ready to play the stone. We heard her say control, so just Just a quiet takeout wait, trying to remove both of those red Japanese stones. There's one, there's two. Double takeout for Kim Eun-jung, and Korea lies 4. Great shot. There we see the perfect angle. Both of the Japanese stones go out of the house. Great sweeping from the front end to hold that stone's line. Perfect result for Korea.
아까 시간 나 봤을 때 그렇게 너무도 많이 넣어놨었는데 얘들이 아까 초반에
So Japan's got the last rock, 2 to come for Satsuki Fujisawa. What do you think they're going to choose to play here, Sander, with 4 rocks facing them?
Well, we're going to play a hit and roll off the stone on the top 4. And I will see if they're able to get shot stone behind the corner. I don't think they can be fully buried and get shot stone here, but maybe 3/4 behind. I don't think this is going to be rolling towards the corner anytime soon. I was wrong, but didn't quite roll where they wanted it to roll.
Yeah, finished late, and did get a little bit of an inside roll. It's a question if they've got any cover.
Well, it's about edge to edge with that corner, maybe even just a hair hidden. It makes it harder for Korea, definitely, to remove it. There's that jam possibility in the back.
Yeah, there's 2 stones that they could jam on. They could jam on the stone in the back 8, and also on the one out in the 12-foot.
안에 지나면은 더 근데 좀 삐껴가야 될 것 같은데. 아니면 뜯을래? 뜯는 건 별로.
Taking a look from the hack here.
멋지다, 멋지다.
Kim Kyung-hae says, don't worry about those ones. I'll worry about the line.
범퍼?
Sometimes when you call a shot, it looks better from the house. Like, sit down in the hack, it looks a little more scary. This is not an easy shot here for Kim Eun-jung. I'm gonna flirt with the guard here. I've seen it curl in this spot a few times already.
Well, the sweepers are desperately trying to hold the line. Are they by the guard?
Wow.
Oh, just by the guard. Great brushing from the Koreans.
And you see how close she was to jamming in the back there, and she was very close to the guard, so that was not an easy shot.
High fives. Wow, that was close to disaster. Watch the great brushing from the Korean front end. Look how close they come to the guard. They just get by that guard. Remove the Japanese stone, and now a very difficult final shot for Satsuki Fujisawa.
Well, Kim had to play the draw against 4 earlier in the game. Now Fujisawa having to do the same. We've seen her be fearless in prior games.
Last stone of the 4th end. Japan trying against 4. Suzuki Yoshida in charge of the weight. They like the line. Do they like the weight? Oh, how do you like that, folks? Draws against 4 and drills it right on the lid. World-class shooting there from Satsuki Fujisawa, and it's a score of 1 for Japan. Relieved high fives, I think, from the Japanese. So after 4 ends of play, it's Japan 2, Korea 1. So, nothing to pick between these two teams. Japan's got their nose in front on the scoreboard, but as Sander pointed out in the last end, Kim Eun-jung had to draw for 1 against 4, and she made it. And then Satsuki Fujisawa had to draw for 1 against 4, and she made it. So, no fear from these skips and these teams. They'll play aggressively, and if they get into trouble, they won't be afraid to try and make a tough draw to save the end.
Well, it's fair to say that the hammer efficiency hasn't been all that great in the game. And then by hammer efficiency, I mean how many times you score 2 or more when you have the last on advantage. Well, you could say that, or you could say both teams have been really good without the hammer.
Yeah, they've both really tried to apply the pressure without hammer, and so if you look at it as force efficiency as opposed to hammer efficiency, then both teams have been really good at generating forces.
That will be Korea's second chance at the hammer that now. See how that goes. Better lead set up here in the fifth end. Nice center guard by Japan. Perfect come around by Kim Young-mi. And Yurika Yoshida will be looking to freeze this yellow.
That one was really just jumped here at the end as well. Oh, actually helped the shot. Corner frozen. A little bit of a side collision out there with the Qatari women's team by the looks of it. Giggles all around.
Three perfect shots to start the end. See if Kim Young-mi can follow up with the fourth one.
Yes, this is shaping up as another end where we're going to see tons of stones in play and lots of freezes. They love to bring it up for a corner freeze. They bring it pretty tight, so that's 4 pretty nice lead stones there, Sander.
Yeah, perfect start.
All tight roping on that center line, so here we see that center guard straddling the center line, then every other stone is touching the center line. Here's Yumi Suzuki.
Fujisawa thinking, well, the only way you can move my red stone on the 8-foot is by coming on our right side here. So just gonna put up a tight guard and clog up that line. This one just over curling a wee bit though.
So is that telling us, Sander, that Fujisawa is definitely thinking force?
Well, I think you're thinking that pretty much every end, aren't you, Hans?
Seems to be, but as opposed to trying to maneuver stones and play for a steal.
Well, on the fifth end, it was a pretty good end to get the force in.
Yeah.
And you get tied up, halftime, have a little chat with your coach, and you get hammer back for the even ends, score 2 and 6, and then things are looking really good.
Guard clear there from Sunny Kim.
Yeah, so you'll see Korea, they're allowing shot stone, but obviously that red stone's fully frozen onto it. Japan is guarding, even though they're not, even though they don't have shot stone, but Korea can't really make a draw to lie 2 right now in behind a center guard. It's a bit too risky, so they're going to peel the guards. But of course, at some point, Japan's going to have to make a move, because as it lies, Korea does have a draw to score the 2.
Ooh, just sneaking just with a corner freezing the hard way.
Actually, that's pretty good, I'd say.
That's perfect. So now there are no straight runbacks for the Koreans. All the angles are bad for them. Kim Sun-young.
Yeah, they'll peel the guard, and it'll be interesting to see how long Japan dares to wait until they make a move here.
The way these are overlapped, you're pretty tempted to just guard it up one more time.
Well, the thing is, you need 2 rocks though to move the shot stone here. You're gonna have to make a play on the top one before you can get to the second full freeze.
The way that they're overlapped, would you consider drawing around yourself?
It's
Pretty brave. It's a bit early in the end for that.
Yeah, it's also a little risky, and I think again you're playing for the force here, not necessarily the steal.
Right.
But they are putting up another guard.
It's Tsunami Yoshida.
So by putting up the guard, they're saying, well, you know, we're gonna wait one more. If you, as in Korea, want to make the move here, you're welcome to. But I think maybe Japan is actually playing the draw here, Khans.
Well, are they by that red one? Yes, they are. Look at that. Oh, boy. 1 foot deep, but pretty awesome.
Wow.
Hard to improve on that. Big smile from Tsunami Yoshida and a brave call from the Japanese. The reason I thought they might think about that come around is just the way that these stones are overlapped. There's no straight run back here for the Koreans. If they do move stones, they're going to lose one of their own at least. So, what will Kim Kyung-ae do?
I believe they're trying to get to their own yellow here, and that's pretty much all she could do there.
Well, she unlocks the overlaps and changes the angles, pushes the Korean stone into the back of the 4-foot. Japan's lying first and third shot, and Korea lying second shot. And the shot rock, though, is behind that tee line. Couple of hit and rolls here for the Japanese. Yoshida's going to come down and have a look. This is a pretty important decision to make. One option they were looking at was hitting and rolling the Korean stone in the back 4-foot. Fujisawa was also saying, well, we could hit the one in the 12-foot as well and roll into the higher part. I think Fujisawa was worried about that double run back, red-yellow straight back, isn't she?
Yeah, well, playing the hit and roll off the top yellow on the wing, rolling towards the one top 4, might leave a pocket, easy double run double. For Korea to lie second and third shot.
Interesting angles, very intriguing, very enjoyable wherever you're joining us in the world from the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. We know you're enjoying this one.
Well, this is a pretty interesting end.
Sure is.
And we've had a lot of this sort of play in this game, just a lot of angles, not necessarily too many guards, just a lot of stones in the house, and it's all about getting the stones in the right spot, not leaving a big shot for your opponent.
It's fun to watch.
So they will be playing on the back yellow here and try and sit 3. Definitely feel like they need to eliminate a yellow stone here, knowing Korea has the hammer.
Trying to hold the line so they don't lose their shot rock. It spins up into the button area behind the pile, though. That was a pretty good result. Double straight back. Arigato. That's Japanese for thank you, and thank you very much, says Tsunami Yoshida. There we see the sweep. Holding the line enough, and watch the spin on the shot rock. Where's it going to go? Yes, always happy to help with the sweeping from behind. That's great. So Looks like they're going to try the outside slash double here, Sander.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I wonder if they can get contact with the back one too for the triple. Not 100% sure.
So, Kim Kyung-hae
Not throwing the biggest weight here.
oh my goodness, clips the front one.
Yeah, and it's left a stagger on the top 12 as well here.
Yeah, disappointment there from Kim Kyung-hae. She was calling the sweepers off, but then it really broke, clips the front and redirects it, leaving an overlap and most importantly, leaving the Japanese stone shot sitting right on the button now. So there we see those overlap stones. It means there's no straight run back on either of those to the shot rock. There is an angle run in on that yellow stone on the top 12 foot, but much tougher shot than the straight back.
Yes, I think they were trying to see if they were lying two or only the one here, Japan. If they do guard, we'll leave the angled run for. We'll leave the angle run for two if they're only lying the signal. It's a pretty tough shot, though. I'd be tempted to leave it, although there's a couple of stones left in the end.
That's right. First skip stones to come here. Intriguing game, just as what we expected. Korea coming into this game 6-0, unbeaten. Japan coming in 5-1, but they were very unlucky to lose that game. So, two of the teams we expect to be in the thick of it at the end of the week's event.
Japan just throwing the center guard. I'm not sure how effective that guard is going to be.
Certainly covers something, but it's a very long guard.
Might see Korea make a move on the stones in the top 12 here. There's a stagger, so they would like to obviously remove that stagger.
Yeah, they need to unlock that somehow.
웨이트 8, 9. 8, 9. 한 이 정도 맞으면은 9까지 가면 이 정도 올 것 같은데.
This is what it looks like from the hack end, folks. We see that red and yellow stone on the center line overlapped, protecting the shot rock. So quite a lot of stick here, Sanders. So are they just looking to perhaps split that yellow stone and give them run-ins either way?
백은 너무
Yeah, I think
세고
that's the
한 8,
plan.
9.
Split the yellows, and as you said, you'll leave the shooter on the right-hand side. Stone you're tapping on the left. Hopefully you'll have two ways of coming into the forefoot and possibly two options of running stones in.
So this is a setup shot. They don't think they're going to be able to get to the shot rock, but trying to set something up for her final stone. Korea with the hammer here on the 5th. Kim Eun-jung. Does she have the split? Here it comes. Doesn't pop the struck rock into the open enough for a run back and slides behind the tee line. So she would have wanted a bit more contact than that, Sander, and doesn't really accomplish too much with that, does she?
No, the only thing is she leaves Korea lying second and third. Might leave Japan running a bit scared, and just look like they'll play the little hit and roll.
I think I heard Yoshida
And Japan's going to have to make the roll. If the nose hit here, they're going to leave a fairly straightforward double for two. If they ever roll out, there will be a chance for Korea to play the out-turn tap for two. So even if they didn't quite accomplish what they wanted there, Korea, they have left a tricky shot for Japan.
playing delicate weight, looking for an inside roll. Has it overcurled? They wanted to stick around for second shot, but they missed the sweep. Oh, it spun back. They got a good break there, and Japan lies two. They were on, off for the whole trip. And then at the end, a panic sweep to try and hold the line. It overcurls, sliding it into the back of the forefoot. Kim desperately trying to sweep it back for third shot, but it spins back, and Japan's, we think, lying two. There we get a great look at it from the overhead, and now they're looking, is there a double here?
Yeah, even if they weren't lying to, that kind of ends up in a spot where it might just jam the for the tap. So it'll be pretty hard to score two here either way for Korea.
아니면 이걸로 이렇게. 근데 이걸 날리기는 좀 아깝잖아 너무.
So Kim Eun-jung looking at the double takeout.
일단 2번인가? 3번.
이렇게.
앞에 노란색이 2번 아니야?
필?
우리 거는 흰색이 아예 다 물렸지 싶은데.
조금 돌긴 돌아.
So is she going to throw peel weight at the sander just to try and score one?
Yep, the slash double. So both the two reds and the
3분의 1.
But she's really going to have to flirt with that center guard, so if she ever crashed the center, it's a steal of two for Japan. So risky play here. There we get a great look at it. There you see that center guard. She probably won't flirt with that if she's throwing peel weight, so it shouldn't be a factor. It's more that red stone at the top of the 12-foot that could be the danger stone. So here we go, folks. Last rock and play here. Peel weight attempting a slash double takeout. They do clip that front red, and it's a steal of two for Japan. Disaster for Korea. Dangerous, dangerous shot that they tried, and they had to try it to try and score one. Over curls, clips the guard in the top 12-foot, and it's a huge steal of two for Japan.
앞에 거 볼라 했어요?
아니 나는 넉넉한 줄 알았어. 끝에 그렇게 말릴 줄 몰랐어.
Confirmation here on the score, and yes, after 5 ends of play, after that steal of two, it's Japan 4, Korea 1. So here are the highlights from the first end of the game. In the second end, Japan. 1, 2, springs it, and out goes the Korean great double stone. takeout.
Double takeout by
Fujisawa lying now 5. 4-foot. She does have backing.
There's a guard in play. Trust the ice. Trust the broom here, and don't be too soft on release, or you might just open
Full 4-foot to score. Draws really nice stone there from Kim Eun-jung. Championships in Uiseong, Korea. We're all tied up 1-1. Has it overcurled? They wanted to stick around for second.
아니면 이걸로 이렇게. 근데 이걸 날리기는 좀 아깝잖아 너무.
So Kim Eun-jung looking at the double take. Final stone here from the Koreans, wrecking the guard, rolling away, and it's a steal of 2 for Japan. So after 5 ends of play, Japan took a 4-1 lead to the midpoint of the contest. Wow. Pulsating stuff here at the Uiseong Curling Center. We're at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2016. Women's action here on a cool afternoon in southwest Korea. Korean team, hometown team. This is their home club, the Uiseong area. Korea unbeaten coming into this game, but a huge steal of 2 from the Japanese in the 5th end. Gives them a big advantage coming into the second half of the game. Maybe a pivotal moment. There we get a great look at this fantastic curling facility in Uiseong. First dedicated curling facility in Korea. Of course, Korea will be the host of the 2018 Winter Olympics, Pyeongchang. And Korean curling has been improving in leaps and bounds in recent years. Sander mentioned that this Team Kim ranked number 9 in the world right now.
8, actually.
Number 8, okay. With a bullet.
Yeah, ranked 8 for the season, and because they take some of the results from last season into play, they're ranked 11th overall, which means they get into playing big spiels like the Grand Slam tour, where they did really well recently at the Grand Slam Masters of Curling, won all their games in the pre-playoff stages.
Bit of a mistake there from Kim Young-mi. Attempted guard comes into the ring, so not in the free guard zone, so it's blast away time for Yuriko Yoshida. She's thrown a lot of hits in this game at the lead position. So Sander, we mentioned this is the last round robin game, and both of these teams are qualified for the playoffs, but the semifinal format is 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3. So how's the standing stacking up here?
Well, so far, we know that all these teams, Japan, Korea, China, are already qualified for the semifinals, but of course trying to figure out who is going to end up in which semifinal. If Korea wins, of course, they have won all games and they'll be ranked number 1. And China is currently beating Kazakhstan by a bundle, so they'll be at 6-1, and Japan drops to 5-2 and will be ranked 3rd. Now, if Japan wins, that means Korea, China, and Japan will all be at 6-1. And since they've all beaten each other, which is some regions of the world known as a tailbite, it's down to the last stone draw, or rather the draw shot challenge, where all these stones they draw before each game to determine the last stone advantage, they'll put them all together and find a good average. And it was actually quite close before this game started. Japan was a bit far behind. Korea and China were very much the same, but it didn't change. And what is actually the truth here is the outcome of this game makes no difference.
Okay.
So Korea will be number 1 either way, and China will be number 2, and Japan will be number 3. So Korea will go into that 1 versus 4 game, and China will play Japan. And for the 4th spot, that is probably New Zealand. If New Zealand wins their game, they will get the last spot in the playoffs. And currently New Zealand is beating Kazakhstan 6-1.
Okay,
so China's playing Qatar. I'm sorry if I said they played Kazakhstan earlier. But if New Zealand beats Kazakhstan, they will get that 4th spot. If New Zealand ends up losing their 5-point advantage at this point, they will have to play a tiebreaker against the winner of the game between Australia and Hong Kong. So tiny glimmer of hope for Australia and Hong Kong yet. And I can say Hong Kong is beating Australia 6 shots to 2 after scoring 4 in the 5th. So summing it up, Korea is number 1, and Japan and China will play each other in the 2-3 game. New Zealand most likely to catch the 4th spot.
Wow. Well, that is a fantastic summary, Sander Rolvak, and congratulations. I think we should give you a PhD after that. You know, that was like a doctoral thesis, but very well explained. Thank you very much for that.
It is a little complicated, but good thing to know is both these teams are through. And yeah, this game, I'm not sure if they know.
They probably don't.
Especially because the draws were so close before the game started, and I'm not sure if the coaches would even bother them with the results. Probably want their teams just to go out there and try and win no matter what. And this might just be a bit of a mental thing, though. Whoever wins this game.
I was just going to say that. So if the Koreans are first ranked regardless, it would be a big moral victory for the Japanese psychologically if they were able to walk off the ice today saying, okay, well, you're ranked number 1, but we gave you a bit of a spanking in the round robin. Tsunami Yoshida. So Japan now very content just to peel guards and keep it tidy. They've got a 3-point lead after that huge steal of 2 in the 5th. Conversely for Team Korea, try to stay patient. Here's Kim Kyung-hae, but this end kind of went away from them at the lead stone when their attempted corner guard came into the rings, and so it's made it pretty straightforward for the Japanese to just eliminate stones. But after that playoff update from Sander, we'll keep an eye on those scores for you. We know this game is going live into New Zealand, so I'm sure there's a lot of folks in New Zealand that are going to be curious to know if the Kiwi women have qualified for the playoffs or not, so we'll keep you posted. But this is our feature game, Korea versus Japan. Nice corner freeze there, second shot, but something to build on for the Koreans. They're going to use whatever they can to try and generate a deuce.
How crucial could that pickup be yesterday for Fujisawa?
Well, that's right. If you were with us last night, Satsuki Fujisawa had a draw to win the game against 2 from Binyu Wang and looked great out of hand halfway down. The sweepers were brushing it. They lift their brushes. The stone picks. China steals 2, and that's Japan's lone loss. And if that one would have gone into the house as intended and they would have won this game, it would be Japan winning this round robin. I think this Japanese team, we mentioned that they were silver medalists at the World Women's Championships in Swift Current last year. Played really impressively. It was the first ever podium for a Japanese women's team, and I think they came away from that center full of confidence. Big weight here. Oh, nice stone there from Yoshida. Double clears. Saying, yep, had it all the way.
In terms of qualifying for the World Championship hands, I believe only one team gets to go through, as China's pre-qualified, being the host nation.
Well, that's exactly right. So the World Championship qualifications, 12 countries compete. The host nation gets a spot. European zone sends 8 teams, and the Americas zone sends 2 teams, and the Pacific Asia zone sends 2 teams. But because the Women's Worlds is going to be in Beijing in March, China gets a guaranteed place, so that leaves only one other place available for the Pacific Asia zone. So Although it seems likely that New Zealand's going to be in the equation in the playoff sense. As far as these two teams that we're watching today go, sadly, one of the two of them is not going to make it to the Women's World Championships. And if the New Zealanders pulled a massive upset, it's possible that neither could make the Women's World Championships, which would be a huge boil over. Here's Satsuki Fujisawa. Good separation, so now no chance really for Korea to think blank anymore. So they are behind the tee line, so now it's thinking about freezes to try and generate a 2 somehow. Had so many ends where the stones have just built up and built up and built up. Some great freezes, really delicate stone positioning, and we saw it all come to dramatic climax in the 5th end when the final stone of Kim Eun-jung wrecked a stone in the front 12 and a big steal of 2 for the Japanese, giving them control. But Kim Eun-jung trying to get herself back in the game, trying to freeze this Japanese stone in the back 12.
Well, there is a spot you could put this rock where it would be physically impossible for Japan to remove it, and that's pretty much corner frozen. Just perfectly glued with the perfect angle, no bounce. It'd be really hard for Fujisawa to get it out, and this is close, very close actually.
So there we see it's corner frozen. Maybe had to curl just the tiniest bit more to lock that jam that Sander was talking about. Japanese might be able to pop it behind that red stone on the right-hand side of our screen if they hit it thin. Looks like to me they're not going to try and hit it high side. They'd be quite happy to hit it on the nose and make sure that their shot rock stays in the rings.
Yeah, you could play it either way.
Yep.
That was a good try.
Sure was.
Curl a core of a rock more there, and it's looking pretty impossible for Japan to appeal it.
They don't want to over curl and roll out and leave the Korean stone in the rings. Pops it out, and Japan lies too. Nice shot.
Yeah, real good defensive end by Japan. Korea were never allowed to get anything going.
There we see Suzuki and Yoshida sweeping coast to coast. Pays off, pops both of those stones out of the rings. So after 5 ends of offense, Team Japan switches into defensive mode and did a very nice job. So now facing 2, last stone to come here on end number 6 for Kim Eun-jung. Needs to hit and stick to score a single point. Not laying a brush to it. They can't afford to roll out. Get contact, but they do indeed spill out of the ring, so a no-risk steal of 1 for Japan. Disappointment for Kim Eun-jung, but smiles all around for Team Japan. That's another point on the board for them. So after 6 ends of play, Japan adds to their lead. Japan 5, Korea 1. So on to end number 7 here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. final game of the round robin. There you see our score. Japan 5, Korea 1. Japan now will just look to protect that lead and play the scoreboard, really, to take them through to the end of this 10-end game. That one slides into the back forefoot. Kim Young-mi. She slid a corner guard into the rings in the last end, so
라인 넉넉해.
certainly doesn't want to do that again. Well, let's stop. All they can do is watch. It does come to rest short of the rings. That means it's in the free guard zone, which means the Japanese can't remove it.
3.
Yurika Yoshida. Japan will be happy to keep the play in the rings. This one's got plenty. They'd like to keep it in front of the tee line if they could. And it does, comes to rest just biting the button, so Japan lies 2. See the time clocks in the background. We mentioned it. Each team has 38 minutes of thinking time available to them, plus a timeout. Neither team has used their timeout yet.
보고.
봐야 될 것 같아. 선영이가 와, 선영이가. 선영이 와. 와야 돼, 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 더.
Corner guard. This Korean team just having a little dispirited look at about them at this point, Sander, and you can understand why.
Just a little bit deflated, and you know, if you give up, especially in such a tight game where you've just been forcing all the way through, and only singles up on the board, then giving up a steal and also a steal of 2 before obviously giving up another steal. It's, you know, it's sort of over. I was going to say commentator's curse once again, as Suzuki will just completely fresh that corner guard and double peel her own stones, and that brings a multiple score into play for Korea. Maybe just a little bit of a confidence booster. There is 4 ends left, so a score of 2 here, possibly 3. They could be right back in it.
Yeah, a bit of a disaster there for Suzuki. Takes her own stones out of the house, and worse, leaves the Koreans 2 corner guards to use. Slides into the back of the 8-foot, but behind cover. Now, will Fujisawa be tempted to play the shot rock, or will she decide to rip the guards? Well, she's chasing the shot rock. Do you like this thought, Sander, or would you just be ripping guards at this point?
Well, if you can see enough of it, I don't mind going after it. But certainly the tolerance here is to clip the guard rather than fresh another one. Peel on the guard's also fine. The good thing about doing this shot is if you leave shooter in the back of the 8-foot, Korea's going to have to deal with it, but this rolls out. Leaves another free draw for Korea. Obviously by coming after the shot stone like that, you're just kind of shrinking the end for Korea. They're going to have to get these stones fully buried, and if they never do, obviously they're never going to score more than 1. So Korea's hoping to get this fully buried. Probably see Japan peel the guard, and Korea gets a chance to come around the other guard.
Are they by? Oh, they just rub it. They do sit in the 8-foot, however. So again, a decision for Setsuki Fujisawa. Rip the guard or play the shot. She's going to hit the stone in the rings.
So thinking nose hit here. Again, wanting to just leave a stone on the center that Korea needs to deal with, but because it's going to be in the 12 foot, Korea doesn't really have to deal with it because they'll be able to draw around both the corner guards for shot stone. So I'm not 100% sure if they need to stick around here.
Knows it and sits on the center line, so it will be interesting to see what Kim Eun-jung decides to play here. Will she ignore that or will she play a hit and roll?
Good news for New Zealand.
Okay, do tell.
The game they've had against Kazakhstan is now over with a steal of 5 in the 7th end, a solid win, 11 shots to 1, which means New Zealand has grabbed the spot in the 1-4 game against Korea.
Okay.
I'll say this is all unofficial right now, but I'm fairly certain this is how it plays out after conferring with the umpires here at the Uiseong Curling Center.
So, great news, New Zealand curling fans. Your women's team appears to have qualified for the playoffs. They'll face a very, very tough semifinal, though, against this Korean team.
China also up 18 shots to 2 against Qatar, so everything's going to play out the way we've said. And of course, this game doesn't really change a whole lot in terms of the rankings, but Japan will obviously be able to come into the playoff stages with lots of confidence if they pick up a win against Korea here.
So she's trying to make a play on that stone in the back 12-foot, but just tickles the guard. Redirects. So a bit of a chance here for the Koreans to get a deuce if they can get another stone behind cover here.
Yeah, because I believe the back yellow now is a shot stone.
Yep. So a good chance now for the Koreans to get themselves back in this game. They're not dead yet. Looking to bury this one around that corner. Oh, get a little rub. Pushes it behind the guard. That was a bonus.
Very nice line call by Jung Kim. Knew that was an option.
So just with that little kiss off the red stone, look where the stone comes to rest, squarely behind the guard. And Korea, we think, is lying 2. So decision time for Team Japan. You probably don't mind giving up 2, but you really don't want to give up 3. And there we see from the overhead, Korea's definitely second shot. Risk for the Japanese if they try to run in their own stone in the top of the 12-foot. They blow it by, and then Korea just comes around the corner guard again, and they could be looking at 4. So
I don't necessarily mind the run on the red one, though. That's
you do have 2 options there, don't you?
Yeah, there's 2 yellows. I don't think there's a hole between the yellows, is there?
Well, I think there is. You have to be really unlucky
Just
to
about
put it through the hole, but
that just for me might be easier than coming through this gap and after the shot stone. But of course, if you wreck the guard here, you open up the 2 yellows.
Okay, so change of gears now. Okay, I heard Satsuki say no, so is she trying to nose that front guard and run it back? Run back double?
It seems like the plan.
On it right away. So no run back.
Oh.
Will she push another Korean stone on the ring? So flirting with danger there. So she does open up the house a little bit, but great opportunity here for the Koreans. Satsuki Fujisawa trying a straight run back double, but it over curls. No contact on the shot rock. Yeah, this is okay. Opened it up. Wasn't really what I wanted, though. And there we get a great look at it. That red stone still available short of the house for the Koreans to use for cover. So if Kim Eun-jung comes around that one, Sander, choices for Satsuki Fujisawa. Follow it down. Try to make a double on those two stones to reduce the damage. Tough choices.
Probably the double. We shall see.
Yep, Kim Eun-jung has to make this one first, of course. Oh, Kim Kyung-ae worried about the line. Is it going to over curl? They got to get by this red one. Sweepers are really working it, but I think she's light. Comes up short. Oh, a golden opportunity for the Koreans, now gone begging, and now Japan can get out of the end. Oh, I'm really surprised about that. I was expecting a lot of things, but I wasn't expecting it to be 2 feet short. So now Japan has a couple of options. There's a whole pile of granite they can roll behind. They can hit the stone in the 8-foot and roll to the left behind the cover or behind the one in the top 12-foot. And there we see. That's where they'd like it to go. If she happens to throw it wide, there's the straight back double. There we see all of the potential cover on the inside. So Fujisawa was saying, and Sander mentioned earlier, sometimes it looks a little bit different when you're standing in the hack. So maybe she's thinking, if we just nose this and make a double takeout, we lie through 2, we get the force. Problem, of course, if she tries the inside roll and it rolls too far, Korea's just got to draw for 2. Fujisawa was right. She was saying that her stone had to curl more to make the double. Yoshida called for the sweep. And there we see, needed to curl a fraction more to make the double takeout. Just goes past the back stone. So we think this is some kind of a draw for 2 for Korea. Yeah, we can see where the broom placement is.
Oh, having to go a bit wider here.
Yeah.
Seems like the ice has been fairly consistent all over the pad because I've seen many teams having to draw wide out in the wing and have made their shots. I'm assuming it's not too different, but it might be a tad slower out here.
So this is a must make for Kim Eun-jung. Last stone of the 7th end, drawing for 2. This would get them quite back in the game if they can make it. Sweepers backing off it now. Curling into the 8-foot, into the 4-foot, and that is just perfect. So Korea clawing and scratching, staying in this game. Bit of a mistake there from the Japanese in this end, and the Koreans took advantage. They put a 2 on the board. Closing the gap, it's Japan 5 and Korea 3. Kim Young-mi getting us underway now in the 8th end, and
이번엔 좀 약한 것 같아, 선영아.
약간 위에도 괜찮아. 웨이트 보고 와.
Team Korea has a pulse now.
약해.
They've gotten themselves back into the game
위로 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 위로. 아, 위로.
with the deuce.
아니, 가는 게 나을 것 같은데. 안올 것 같아.
오, 라인.
아니야, 아니야.
But Japan with the hammer now in the 8th, and they do have at least the even ends. So after a bit of a wobble there in the 7th, Sander, I suppose they'll be thinking mainly just a score here, won't they?
Yeah, just keep it open, and that's why we see the tick shot being applied here. You're not allowed to remove this yellow stone from play. You're allowed to move it though, but not that far. So it hits the sideline, and it will be put back in place. So-called free guard zone violation there.
Free guard zone rule introduced into the sport of curling in the, I think about the late 1980s to try and promote more attacking play.
Well, it definitely helped.
Sure has.
If you watch some of these old games in the 80s, you'll see the game very much just being, at least in the playoff stages where things were important, to just be a little cautious, and there'd be a lot of you just throw a guard, they peel it, throw a guard, peel it, just wait for a miss, and then you come around the guard. And
Yep,
you know, with the free guard zone rule, you get into the action right away. So it's a pretty good thing that.
조금만 더.
guards double stacked now for the Koreans. So Kim Young-mi's done everything that she's been asked to do in this end for Team Korea. And now Yoshida gonna have another try at nudging one of these stones off the center line.
Yeah, this is where some teams choose to play the second stone into the top 4, so the opponent needs to deal with it. But those guards pretty much on the line, so no easy double for the Japanese. So wanting to go after another tick shot, but this time not curling enough, and we'll leave 2 center guards in play for Korea.
Yoshida just confirming that she threw where Fujisawa would have liked her to throw. Kim Son-young. So after those 2 great center guards, important now for the Koreans to capitalize on that by getting a stone into the house in a good position. And this one looks very good.
So we know already that Japan will play China in the 2-3 game. Now they're playing Korea here. Obviously, that's going to keep them up on their toes. It's a tough game. China playing Qatar. Not as a tough game as their last round-robin game before the playoff stages. You think that might have an effect?
Well, I suppose if you're Wang Bingyu and you've got a pretty easy game in your final round-robin game, not to be unkind to the Qataris, but the Chinese are a much better team. Mentally, you probably treat that like a practice game. So instead of focusing so much on victory, you're probably focusing more on shots and situations that you know that you're going to have to play in a playoff game. So maybe working on tick shots like we were seeing here, or other kinds of late in the game situation shots.
I know you've been out and about, Hans. Would you rather play a really tough team right before the playoffs to kind of raise your game, or is it kind of nice with having an easy opponent before the playoffs to kind of recharge your batteries? Or?
I think a lot depends how your week has gone generally, Sander. Tournaments tend to have a bit of an ebb and flow, and teams can get on a roll or they can struggle and then they can get back on a roll. And so if you feel like you're on a roll, if you feel like you're going strong, then having a tough game going in would keep that confidence level high. And then as you're going into the playoffs where the games really matter, you're feeling a bit bulletproof. Conversely, if you're, feeling like you're not quite there yet and you just need to sharpen the edge a little bit, having a game against a team that that you can get on top of gives you an opportunity to lock in, zero in, get some confident shots made, and then you can take that into the playoff round. So I think it does matter a lot depending on how your week has gone.
I assume it might depend a little bit on the result too. Obviously, if you win that tough game, that's going to boost your confidence. But if you end up having a scrappy game against an easy opponent, you might do the opposite.
That's true, and I think this is where experience matters, and I think the experienced teams are better able to put the last game behind them. 1, 2 from 3 from Yoshida, moving them all around. Would have preferred a couple of them to go rocketing off the sheet as opposed to staying straight back, but there we see the red stone hitting the yellow, bing, bing, bing. Korean stone remains in the 8-foot.
We'll talk about leaving a game behind them. Japan with that unfortunate loss to China yesterday. Hasn't really seemed that has affected them too much today. They've been coming out playing some really good curling.
Yeah, they actually, although they've had the odd miss, they have seemed a bit sharper today. But it's important that they close this out. They've built a lead. They've played well, but guard's in play here after giving up a deuce, and now a second Korean stone into the rings behind guard. So it's time for the Japanese to stay sharp and be wary. They don't want to let this one get away from them. If the Koreans could steal 1 or 2 here, it's all on for the final couple of ends. And building very nicely for Team Kim. So now Chinami Yoshida, after jamming those attempted double clear in the last shot, again trying to blast a path through the granite. There's one, and jams it again. So, watch out, folks. Here comes Korea. Was hoping to hit this one on an angle, but instead stuffs it right behind the guard as well. And we see it come to rest, staying in the 4-foot, so warning, warning, Will Robinson.
It's almost harder to do that than to spill it.
She's done it 3 times. She did it yesterday as Japan was trying to clear guards late in the game. And now she's stuffed jams twice here in a row. Kim Eun-jung, though, trying to take advantage. She knows if she can get another one in there. This is a good-looking shot. Want it come to, yes, just comes to rest front button. So, boy, nervous time now if you're a fan of Team Japan. Korea lies 3, and if you're a fan of Team Korea, you're standing up and you're applauding the fight back. They were down 4. They got 2 back in the last end, and now they're lying 3, 2 of them guarded. Satsuki Fujisawa doesn't seem to be troubled too much, though, Sander.
I think they were saying, let's play the run back. We could hit this yellow, this yellow. Yeah, there's many options here. Just want to hit something yellow. But even just getting contact with any of these yellows, not easy. You're gonna have to hit this redstone pretty dead on. She gets one.
Okay, and then she importantly also opens up the 4-foot.
Yeah, rolls the shooter away.
And we see she was trying to drive probably straight back, but a little bit on the high side, but at least removes 1 Korean shot. Japan's got the hammer, but Korea's got a great opportunity here to steal. And the question is,
어차피 저기 앞에 가드가 있어서.
how do you make this
가드가 얕잖아. 이걸로 하자.
difficult to the max for Team Japan? And there we see that
근데-
guard
근데 너무
just over the hog line. That's covering
맞으면 안 나옵니다.
part of both of those Korean shots. So looks to me like she wants to go probably maybe just hiding a corner behind that red one. Top 12-foot, Sander, do you think?
Yeah, I think line's most important here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you really need to get in for third shot, and you'll just group the yellows.
There's a
and
great look at it from the hack end. Sorry to interrupt, but second stone is covered. Shot rock is open, so you're right. I think the line is the important thing, trying to protect the shot rock.
I think maybe just bite the center line and tight guard.
Yep.
It looks pretty good to me.
일사.
Just enough to leave a hole for Japan to think about, and also enough to maybe block the in-turn draw.
넷 다섯.
This one starting to curl.
Will it over curl?
아니에요, 너무 많이
Well, I would prefer it to be on the other side of the center line, but it will
Well.
protect the yellows.
She's showing half a rock now, and the question will be, is there enough of it visible for Satsuki Fujisawa to throw some weight at it and make a double takeout? There's a great look at it from the hack end. That's a bit of a teaser, I'd say. She can see a third of it.
Yeah, I'd say all in all, that's not a bad result, because it's not easy getting contact with the stones on the forefoot here. You ever take the top yellow, steal of 2.
Well, that's right. So we saw in the fifth then that Uiseong Kim wrecked a guard on the top 12-foot to give a steal of 2. Satsuki Fujisawa now facing the same situation. It's the last stone and end number 8. Fujisawa calls them off. Gets one, spins it back, but will it be far enough? No, it won't, so it's a steal of 1 for Korea. That one had to curl up more for Satsuki Fujisawa. We see it's by the guard, clips the shot rock, spins it. Had to hit it thicker, though, to move it back out of the 8-foot. Yoshida sweeping it desperately, but Korea now definitely back in this game. It's a steal of 1, and they've closed it up. After 8 ends of play, Japan has the hammer with a lead 5-4.
멋있겠다, 고메.
경아 센 거 같아.
와야 돼. 와야 돼.
So Team Korea
계속.
knocked to the canvas by Satsuki Fujisawa's team, trailing by 4, but they've gotten up off the mat and they've come back swinging themselves,
이게 너무 정신 차렸을 것 같아.
taking 2 on end number 7 and then stealing 1 on end number 8. Now they're only trailing by 1. It's 5-4. And Sander, if they can force the Japanese here, they'd be playing the 10th end with last rock 2 down. And if they could steal the 9th end, they'd be playing the 10th all even. Attempted tick shot here by Yoshida, but again, hits it thick, and this is going to be pushed through the ring, so this one's going to come back too.
Yeah, Yoshida with a great chance to help her team with a few tech shots here. But like in the last end, just not coming off. And if he doesn't make the next one either, Korea has 2 center guards. And it's pretty tough to play against.
Yeah, as the late great baseball philosopher Yogi Berra used to say, it would be like deja vu all over again.
하나 둘 선영 하나 둘. 세다 이거 세다.
좀 살아가요, 이거.
세다.
죽고 있어요.
아니야 기다려야 돼.
You only have Yogi Berra quotes, or
Oh,
is there any?
they're just so good.
Any Shakespeare?
A guard, my kingdom for a guard.
Oh boy.
So Pancake stacks the guards. Two center guards now for Team Korea, and Yoshida's going to try and reposition them.
Actually, I think it's just drawing the wing this time.
Okay.
Seeing how those stones are so close together, that's a pretty easy double peel for Japan. So they're just going to leave it. They like how it looks at the moment. So just putting another stone to the wing, something that Korea is going to have to consider at least. Might be the extra point.
Could
if
be
Japan
the
ever,
yep.
you know, scores, goes for one with their last stone. Maybe a tap or something. That might be counting for two and kill the game.
Kim Sun-young. She did a great job setting up the last end with a good come around. Can she do it again?
많이 들어가, 많이. 들어갈 것 같은데?
Looked like a wide track, but it's starting to move now, well past the guard. They will finish hard.
Well, this is a bit of a key shot too. Might just be the rock they need to guard for the rest of the end. I would have loved to have that just a foot shorter, but not a bad spot.
So a chance now for Yumi Suzuki to double clear the front. Oh, very nicely done by Yumi Suzuki. Kills both those guards and importantly rolls away herself. That'll make the breathing a little bit easier for Satsuki Fujisawa.
Yep, this makes it a lot more tidy for Japan. And Korea's going to throw the guard. Japan will peel it. If that ends up happening for the rest of the end, you'll probably see Korea put their last stone in the house somewhere to lie two. Fujisawa might have to play a double. And as we said, if she makes that double and sticks around, she might be scoring her second point with that stone on the wing.
And that surely would be enough for them to run out the match if they could do that. That would give them a big advantage.
It'll be interesting to see if Fujisawa doesn't like the shot stone in the forfeit. She might come after it, thinking she would like to open up her scoring area just a little bit in case she needs to play a draw. She'd prefer to play a draw against a stone that's a little further from the pin. So that's what she's doing here. And of course you cannot afford to miss everything here.
They're just willing this stone to curl. They're hoping they get a piece of the shot rock. Oh, just finishes enough. Another sigh of relief for Team Japan. That was looking a bit nervy for a moment. But now Uiseong has a chance to maybe improve that stone. That last one was a pretty good one. It was back button, but maybe get a little bit more securely behind the guard. Satsuki Fujisawa turns around to have a look at the time clock. Both teams have got plenty of time to finish this game, and they both have timeouts available.
I don't think Kim likes the center guard too much. It's a bit too long. So if they ever get to the top of the button, Japan will be able to come after it. So this is a bit of a setup shot, just coming top 12 here.
So she's quite happy to be second shot here, thinking that she could come around that again and lie two, perhaps.
Does slip into the top 8. Just popping out the other side, so Fujisawa calling a little hit and roll off of this.
Ooh, do you like this call? It's kind of an either or. She could clip the front.
I'm a little surprised, I have to say, because playing this down weight, there is always a chance you might just feather the guard and not make contact with the shot stone, but don't really move the guard. So she's going to have to be very accurate here. And she is.
Oh, very nice stone there. Very delicate shot from Chinami Yoshida, but she removes that stone and rolls to the wing in front of her own. Well, we talked about this Japanese team, you know, pretty fearless, and that was a pretty fearless call.
더블도 봐줘요.
So now, a bit surprised that Eun Young Kim is looking at the double, but I suppose she's thinking I can hit, make the inside roll, maybe get behind the guard and possibly remove both Japanese stones. Probably thinking more about the roll than the double, though.
Yeah, maybe just sort of conceding this end, thinking, well, it's not really working out for us. We don't want to give up a 2 and kill the game. If this end carries out as a blank or a force, we will have a chance to steal or take a 2 and 10. So this is a bit of a cautious approach, but Japan, of course, hoping to blank the end here, keep a 1-point lead into the 10th end with the last on advantage.
Interesting, though, that would be a bit of a flashback to last night, wouldn't it? Because that was the exact same situation that they had against Wang Binyu, one up with the hammer.
Yeah, had to draw against 2, and that draw picked up, and China stole the game.
So if you're Satsuki Fujisawa and you're going to throw that last one for the blank, maybe deep in your subconscious you're thinking, I'll just stuff it on the nose and go 2 up. Many a long debate behind the glass in curling clubs about the merits about being 2 up without versus 1 up with. Little inside roll, but not enough to get cover.
I'd have to say 1 up with hammer is my preferred situation.
And do you feel that way just because you can attack the tick shots more in that situation, or?
Of course, you make the tick shots, almost game over, but it's just you know, you're in control, and you'll have the last one for the game, and very often you'll have a second chance, and if you're 1 up, you know, you might think, well, if I miss it, we'll get the extra, so there's less pressure on the skip to make the shot. Without the hammer, you don't have as much control. You might give up a 3 and lose the game. I think most teams just feel more in control having the hammer. But statistically, I think they're both pretty good.
Nose hit there from Fujisawa, so interesting decision coming up. Kim Moon-jung is clearly saying, okay, we're happy enough with the force, so she's not going to try and gamble for the steal, even though she's got a center guard. She's just going to remove the Japanese stone, try to flop it behind cover and get a force and maybe a no-risk steal. Yoshida, Fujisawa discussing their options.
Well, I think after Yoshida made that excellent little bumper weight hit and roll, squeak past the guard, I think Kim said, well, they're just going to come after everything, so play that double on the wing. And they're just going to try again next end. This one just going to roll too far.
Will it stay in the rings?
Well, for a blank attempt, kind of rolls to a slightly awkward spot.
So now we are at the decision point for Team Japan. Score 1, blank. Only bad result here is just flashing it completely. We're in the penultimate end of this 10-end game. Last rock on its way for Japan's Satsuki Fujisawa. We think they're trying to blank. And it is a blank. The Japanese stone rolls out of the ring, so Japan will retain last rock for that important 10th end. And they will retain their 5-4 lead on the scoreboard. So after 9 ends of play, 10th end coming up, don't you dare go away. It's Japan 5, Korea 4.
そうだね、肉結構大事だから。トップなら若干曲がっ
들리지 않게? 경아 보고 가, 앞에 보고.
So, play underway here in end number 10 at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. You're enjoying the final round robin game from the women's event. Top-ranked teams involved here, Japan versus Korea, and it's been everything we hoped for. We knew it was going to be a tight, competitive contest, and so it's turned out to be. Japan's leading it 5-4. They've got last rock here in the 10th end. If they're tied after 10, we'll go to an extra end. But really key shot in the end right here, Sander, for Yurika Yoshida.
Yeah, Yoshida's missed 3 out of the 3 tick shot attempts so far in the game. This will be the 4th, and knowing as a lead, if you don't make a single tick shot, you're pretty upset. This one.
Once again, right on the nose.
How far does it go?
Well, now Fujisawa joins the sweeping because she sees it's going to stay in play. That worked out fantastically well for the Japanese. They got lucky, but they have left a center guard. A relieved smile there from Yurika Yoshida. We see that yellow stone of Korea barely stayed in play, and that means it was not a free guard zone violation.
Yeah, it's a tiny bit better. Just was able to move the center guard off the center line just a wee bit, and obviously it's now red.
Exactly.
For Korea, they're going to throw a guard to guard the guard. Because, of course, Japan is allowed to peel their own guards in the free guard zone. So if Korea exposes this red stone here, you might see Japan just peel the tight center. So they want this perfectly on line to make that difficult.
So it's covering half of that red stone, as Sanders said. In the free guard zone portion of the end, you can hit your own stone. And there we see Satsuki Fujisawa saying, yep, let's just run our own. Has to navigate past that center guard first, though. She can't afford to hit that with any kind of weight because that is in the free guard zone area. Oh, just by the top guard. Kim came out to sweep it. She thought it was going to clip it. But there it goes. Great sweeping there from Team Japan. And interesting free guard zone portion of the end. Yoshida, not often you're asked to run off your own guard, but she had the opportunity to do that and did a good job.
Yeah, it's looking better now for Japan. And again, in the previous end, there was Kim Young-mi put 2 center guards close together and left a double. This time, I think Kim Son-young might have a chance to get more separation. So it's not going to be easy for Japan here in the end number 10. Pretty good separation.
Yeah, good separation there. So Japan, no doubt, will be clearing guards, but the double clear now, because of the distance between the stones, is a lot more difficult. Matter of fact, just wondering if she's playing the back stone, but Yumi Suzuki will certainly be eliminating something here. Yeah, she is playing the back stone, so she runs that off.
Yeah, I like that call. If she keeps doing that throughout the end, Kim's going to have to draw around the guard that's in play, and that's, you know, it's a very long guard. There's so much curl on the ice here. It'd be very easy for Fujisawa to come after it. So key for Korea here to get fully buried behind their own guard and forcing Japan to peel the top one.
Yeah, in that situation you're describing, Sander, is the real benefit of carrying the 1-point lead. If you can see half a rock on your last one, you don't have to hit and stick to win the game. You can just hit and roll out, and you still take the victory. Korea is aware of that. Kim and Young saying, well, a biter on the top of the 12-foot is kind of useful too. That's what we saw Bing Yuang do yesterday. Paid off.
So just peeling the top one this time, Japan. As Korea was able to get their tight guard fully buried. Just enough to run off the guard here.
Heard a little woof from Satsuki Fujisawa. They're a bit worried about it blowing by, but they did get a piece.
And now comes a bit of a key shot for Korea.
Where's ideal here?
You know, usually maybe just top the button, but the guard's pretty tight. So if you're ever like top 4 here, you might see Japan play the run back. So you might be tempted to even bring this all the way down to the T line. If you end up back 4, it's not terrible, because you'll probably be able to bring another stone into the house on your last one and leave Japan facing 2.
Well, looks like they're choosing instead to stack guards, so not playing into the rings on this shot, so they decided to okay, I'm gonna say it, create a steak sandwich.
You're just full of puns there.
These Korean teams' nicknames are just too tempting. I'm sorry about that, folks. But 2 guards for the Koreans, and now the Japanese run one of them off.
Well, the good thing for Korea is doing this. Obviously, they won't allow that run back. And I was just mentioning, draw around top 4, might see Japan play the run back. Playing the long guard, that's not going to happen. The only risk here is you ever don't get the perfect line on the long guard, you'll see Japan come after the tight guard, and then the only thing you have left is that very long guard to come around, and it's not really worth much. So you're gonna have to make these long guards just absolutely perfect, and I'm not sure if they'll dare doing it once more after Kim Kyung-hae's second stone here. I think you'll probably see Kim play the draw on their next one.
Yes, 3 stones to come for each team. Japan with the hammer. So another very long guard. So as Sander said, if Korea had to use that for protection on their very last stone, would almost certainly be available for Japan to try and pick it out. So again, we see Fujisawa asking Chinami Yoshida to try and pick out the back of these 2 guards. Lots of weight. Clips it, spills it. Nice shot.
Yeah, I think Korea might just have to play another tight center guard. Maybe just a nibbler, perhaps.
Let's listen.
Yeah, just there.
Quick discussion. Yep, they arrived pretty quickly at the call, so top 12 behind the guard.
Yep, just get it perfectly buried. Just top 12, even just nibbling the rings. It's pretty good for them. Hope that Japan peels the top guard, and then they can come around that stone top 12, sit 2, and force Fujisawa to play a draw against the game.
Or in that situation, 1 up, would that not tempt Fujisawa to consider a double takeout?
It could absolutely do that, but if this is only at the very top of the 12-foot, it means Fujisawa has, you know, just needs full 12-foot for the extra. So she might be tempted to play the draw, all depending on where the second stone from Kim ends up. And of course, you're just going to have to make this one first. This one's looking a little heavy, a little wide at the moment.
Well, it's miles by the guard. Coming deep into the rings now, but I don't think it's going to be buried. So a good break here for the Japanese. They pounce on it immediately. They say, okay, we can see it. We're going to hit it. And leave ourselves a saver in the back 8 foot to take the action away from that guard if they can. So confirming again, they don't want to leave it on the nose. Close to wide open, small corner hidden. Team Kim can only watch and hope. Oh, this one's starting to move. Safely by. Big weight. Oh, they even get a little inside flop. That's interesting. Stays in front of the T line as well, so Satsuki Fujisawa going, wasn't really looking for the inside roll, but I'll take it. Now we can see it's half buried. So no real choice for Kim Un-jung other than to come down to that red stone with maybe back button weight. Try to nose it and push it back a foot, Sander.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Just tap it as short as you can, but still nice shot with the shooter.
That stone is in front of the T line, so for Korea to be shot, they'll have to move the Japanese stone at least off the button. So she'll need about, has to push it about a foot.
You might want to try and keep a bit of an angle here too, so maybe catch about 2/3 of it, thick half, and tap it about a foot, and it might be hard for Japan to just peel it out for the win.
So this is the last stone of the 10th end for the Koreans. They have to be lying shot after this. Japan's got a 1-point lead. Rushers are really working it. They want to keep the angle. They don't want it to over curl.
I think you have.
Has it pushed it far enough? No, it hasn't. Not enough weight, and Japan will take this game out. So just slightly light with that attempted bump on the final stone for Korea, but a huge confidence building win for Team Japan. Brave fight back from Team Korea, but Team Japan, tonight they hang on one up with the hammer. Satsuki Fujisawa and her teammates, hugs all around. A 5-4 victory for Team Japan. highlights from this top of the table match between Korea and Japan. End number 5, hit and roll, rolls across. Does it spin and stay? And here's a chance now for Uiseong Kim. She thinks she's got a chance for a double takeout to score 1, but it just clips the stone in the top 12-foot, spills away, and Japan with a big steal and a control point. After 5 ends of play, it was Japan leading at 4-1. Play in end number 6. Fujisawa from Japan makes that nice double clear in the back of the house. High fives all around. Leaving Korea's Kim Eun-jung facing 2. Has to hit and stick to score, but she hits and rolls out. So Japan, after the deuce, comes back with another steal. And at this point of the game in the 6th end, up 5-1 and looking like they were firmly in control. But Korea roars back in the 7th end. You see that yellow Korean stone in the back of the 8-foot. Kim Eun-jung has a draw, needs full 8-foot around some guards to score 2. Comes to rest on the tee line, so Korea fighting their way back. A big deuce there, and after 7 ends, it was Japan 5, Korea 3. Then on the 8th end, after a great front-end build-up, tough shot here for Satsuki Fujisawa, looking at 2. She's trying to double them off. Catches it thin, and the Korean stone squirts to the back of the 8-foot, but not far enough. Comes to rest, and so Korea closes it up even further. It's 5-4 Japan after 8. Then on end number 10, you see that red stone behind cover. Kim Eun-jung trying to bump it back to force a steal, but pushes it just to the back of the button, not far enough, so clinches the game for the Japanese. A hard-fought battle, but a big win for Japan going into the playoff round. Victory for Team Japan, Team Korea, and they took it out 5-4. Ready now for interviews with the winning Japanese skip, Satsuki Fujisawa, standing by.
So, what was the biggest difference between Japan and Korea today?
今日の試合で韓国と日本一番差はどこにあったと思いますか？
そうですね。5エンド目に2点スチールできたところが大きかったかなと思います。
Well, I feel that at the 5th end, when we got 2 points as a steal, I think that was when we made a big difference with the Korean team.
How did your team feel after that unfortunate loss against China yesterday? And how did you recuperate? How did you get ready for this one?
昨日残念ながら負けましたけど、その後どうやって取り戻せたんですか？回復。
いや、昨日のゲームはbad luck そうそんなに気持ち的にも落ち込んでもなかったので、昨日の調子でやろうというふうに思ってました。
We were not that bad actually yesterday, so we didn't really get disappointed. So we thought that we are going to keep up the pace as we did yesterday.
And now you play China in the 2 versus 3 game in the semifinal. What do you think about your chances?
で明日また中国と試合があるんですけど、それにちょっと意気込みを聞かせてください。
まあいつも通りやればちゃんとクリアをしてバッドラックにならないようにいつも通りやれば大丈夫かなと思います。
Well, we think if we do the same way that we do normally, so if we don't clear or not backtrack, then we'll be fine.
All right, thank you. Arigato.
Thank you so much.
So there we see the final score. Japan 6, Korea 4. Big win there for Satsuki Fujisawa and her Japanese teammates. As we end the round robin phase of the women's competition, our playoff teams are confirmed. Korea will play New Zealand in one semi, and Japan will play China in the other semifinal here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2016. Semifinals will be tomorrow. Hope you join us for then. But until then, Sander Rolvag, my companion commentator, I'm Hans Fraunlab, and on behalf of our entire production crew, good afternoon from Uiseong.